contrast and a challenging dynamic of trying to put a capitalistic economy like they have, especially in the big cities, with a communist government. So you'll hear and you'll see all of this like you cannot believe. But it was as unique as could be. The other reason, and Tuck, is it okay if I start now? And
I was just going to say, Mark, we've got 5 or 6 of us on, and out of respect for everyone's time, let's go ahead and get started, and we'll for sure share the link out afterwards to allow others to view. So go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, the biggest part of the education of this will be in the latter part of the presentation. I want to go over the ship, and I want to go over Uniworld. Tuck and many of you have been on AMA waterways before, and AMA is my favorite line to put groups on. Uniworld, honestly, is a step above AMA in most categories. We here at Cruise Holidays, by the way, November 14th was our 36th year in business, so we're pretty proud of that. And we have specialized in river cruises over the last about 12-15 years, and we're one of the biggest river cruise companies in the United States. And we've got the buying power and the sales with all of these lines that we know the unique differences. And like in this case, I wanted everybody to know why I asked Tuck so strongly to have this webinar ASAP, was because these ships on the Mekong and on the Mekong River are so small. I mean, this one is 34 suites, and they don't want to give, these cruise lines don't want to give out group space, and they don't need to give out group space. So, and they fill up so fast, which is why they don't want to give out group space. Group space is when you hold several cabins for an extended period of time. And I got to tell you, we pulled some strings to get, per Tuck's request, to get the deadline to hold these cabins till December 2nd. So we'll go over all of that. There's 10 suites we have held, and then 1 grand suite. And I'll go over all that with you in a minute, but that's why we're having this on a Saturday. In fact, I think this is great, and I want to wish everybody, in case I forget, a very happy Thanksgiving coming up here next Thursday. We're heading out tomorrow. We're taking our 2 kids and our 2 children, my daughter's husband, and 2 grandkids on the gigantic utopia of the seas over Thanksgiving. We're leaving tomorrow for that. So that's why I asked Tuck if we could do this today instead of later on next week. But let's go ahead and get into all this now. I think it's important. I wanted, let me just a minute. I was talking to Evan earlier. One of the things I really like about Uniworld, you see their slogan underneath their logo of Uniworld that says Boutique River Cruises. And Uniworld, by just their very business model, makes their ships to have more space in their cabins, more space in their public rooms, less guests, and a real high number of people to serve you. In fact, in this ship, there's 34 suites, 68 people, and 51 employees to take care of you. That's a pretty good ratio. The other thing they do, they include almost everything. So that I like. And we had to negotiate in the drink packages for you guys with AMA. With this one, they're already included. So that part is great. We did, however, negotiate a $300 group discount, which is already in the pricing that we'll show you today. And that ends on December 2nd. So if you can make a decision before then, that's fabulous. The other thing we negotiated was Viking does this a lot, and a lot of the cruise lines river cruise lines are starting to follow it. They'll say if you pay in full by a certain time, they'll give you a 10% discount off the price of the cruise. So let me go over all that with you through this presentation, but let's go. This, by the way, is not on the ship, but Uniworld puts this in because they want you to know that they have a little more upscale cultural feel and options in their product all over the world. This is actually, I think, in Vienna, Austria, but they put it in there to show you some of the things they will do for their excursions. They are all inclusive, as it says there they're very, very, very fabulous with their service. And of course, when you have that many employees to that few guests, that's always a good formula for great service. They pride themselves in their cuisine and their alcohol and their service. So I think the quality alcohol. Now, part of what Vietnam requires when you go in there, they want, a lot of countries in third world areas actually require this, is to have their local foods, their local wines, their local beers, their local spirits to be available. So you get a lot of the local culture too. And their tours, like I said, are curated to that destination, and they do a great job. This is a really good, I think, example in all of the 10 things that are included from the unlimited choice of premium spirits and wines. Now, remember, in this area, there'll be a lot of local spirits too, and local beers and local wines. And they're not as good as the California wines, but I think one of the best parts of experience in a unique area like this is experience their cuisine. And Tuck, you'll be the first if you want to try the chocolate covered tarantulas. They're really oh, I couldn't do it either. I couldn't do it either. But you're
I
gonna
don't know.
find
I'll try it. I'll try it once.
you're gonna find some things like that my son, like in China, tried snake wine. Oh gosh. But anyway, you'll see a lot of this. It's so much of the experience. When you make your payment, almost everything is included. Lynette, oh, by the way, let me introduce Lynette Todd. She's our group coordinator on this group for you. Lynette, say hi to everybody. Lynette.
Oh, hello there.
There you are. There you are.
Hi, Lynette. Thanks.
Hi there.
Lynette came in Saturday, so to help me put all this together and just introduce herself to everybody, because I've got a whole bunch of travel, as always, ahead of me. So Lynette will be your easy contact to get a hold of.
Just so everyone knows, Lynette's the one to go to and does most of the work, and Mark takes one for the team and goes out and travels just so he can see how good it is.
Tuck, somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to do it. It's a formula that's worked well for us over all the years. Let's go ahead and get into the ship itself. And I think you'll be very, very impressed with this ship. And Evan, I think you'll see this, as Evan and I were talking about earlier, that Uniworld makes these boutique river cruise ships and they design them to the area that they'll be traveling. So you're going to get kind of a tropical lush feel of this. Here is a good example of one of the alfresco restaurants. I wanted to show you all those pictures on my left. I think it's your left too, will be pictures of the ship itself, and I'll go through them a little bit more detail. But I want you to look at the numbers. While this ship was inaugurated just 4 years ago, and remember, for 2 of these 4 years, it wasn't, there weren't people on it. So 68 guests, 34 suites, 51 staff. The length and width, I don't think is that important to you. There is a look at it right there. Again, they design it to fit into the itinerary of where you're going, the Mekong River. Here is the design or layout of the ship. As you see, there's in essence 4 decks total, and then a sun deck on top. And I'll go over that with you to see what that's like. Here is an example. This is an all-suite ship. So here's the example of the suites. This is the category that we have 10 staterooms held right now through December 2nd, the suite category. There is the grand suite. We've got one of the grand suite held. And I don't know, it's beautiful to me. Here's the royal suite. They would not let us hold any of these, but if anybody is interested in the royal suite, let us know. And again, we are a good, 10 months, 11 months out. There's always some turnover, so we can wait list this if it's not available at all. There's the balcony with the hot tub and the lounge chairs out there for the royal suite. Here's the royal suite's bathroom. you know what these cruise lines do. They always show you the biggest suite to make you think everyone are like that. Now, this is the library on ship. Very few river cruise ships that are this small has space allotted for a library, which is kind of classy, right? So it's, and again, another nice air-conditioned and quiet place on the ship to be if you so desire. There's the alfresco dining that I showed you a little bit before. I think this is a great indication of the, I call it the old world classy luxury, you know, lounge bar. And again, premium spirits are part of this, part of what Uniworld offers, but to me, that's a very, very classy looking lounge. There is an outdoor bar, and that's right in front of that alfresco dining room area. So there again, if you want to be outside, you most certainly can do that. We'll talk about heat and humidity here in a little bit. There is the pool up on the top deck. So it's a good sized pool. That's as big a pool as I've ever seen on any river cruise ship. I mean, that's impressive. They do have a spa on board, as you see. It also doubles as a hair salon too. So let's get into the itinerary a little bit. You're going to get a lot of Buddhist and Hindu history, traditions, and culture, especially in the Cambodia area. As you know, in communism, religion is not supposed to be anything there, but so you'll feel it and sense it more in Cambodia. And I got to tell you, I was so impressed with Cambodia. I love, love, love Cambodia. But let's go through this. This is the theme or the title of the destination you're going on. And we did a lot of talking with Tuck over this, everybody, to let you know that Uniworld doesn't divide things out. So it's either this 15-day one or not at all. And Amma didn't have enough space for us to even go on. So this is, and by the way, when you go this far, I heard somebody talk about Thailand and Singapore, Malaysia. When you go this far, it is a long ways. You're going to want to see as much as you can, probably for no other reason too than this seems to be a one and done itinerary. And I would encourage you, everything they've got here is what brings them the highest satisfaction level to see everything from Hanoi all the way down through Cambodia, down through the Mekong and into Saigon, or what's now called Ho Chi Minh City. So it is 7 nights cruise and 7 nights of land touring. There will be 32 meals during this time, 13 excursions that are included, and 2 World Heritage sites. So let's go through this. There it is right there. The time is October 20th through November 3rd. And as you, I think Tuck, you probably told everybody, we checked all the dates we could possibly take around the time that was available for you all to go on. And this is the only one that they could even talk to us about that had more than just a few cabins available. So let's go through this itinerary, and then I'll have you ask questions and answer. I'll do the best, Lynette and I'll do the best to answer as we can. But the other thing I love about Uniworld is because they are so first class, you will stay in the best hotels. And by the way, you can probably know if you've been to China or if you've been to the Far East at all, they have spectacular 5-star hotels and above. So obviously, when you fly in, you will have a group or individual arrival. If you're coming in at different times, you'll be greeted by a Uniworld representative at the airport, excuse me, and transferred to your luxury accommodations. They're talking about the Sofitel or the Metropole Hanoi Hotel, but I can promise you, you'll be very, very pleased, very impressed with them. In this area now, this is far north in Vietnam. It's kind of interesting. You go a little west to get to Cambodia and a little south, but here we'll go to Hanoi first, and you're going to see this unique area. And again, some of the terrain here, where you get into the southern part of the river, it's pretty much flat. Up here, it's very, very mountainous and lush and beautiful. Okay, then from Hanoi, we will end up flying to Siem Reap in Cambodia. And there again, we'll be staying at that luxury hotel. You'll be transferred. All your transfers are included in on this, that Sofitel Angkor Golf and Spa Resort. And this is a picture of Angkor Wat, and that's one of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Actually, I'll show it to you coming up here. But Siam Reap, oh my gosh, what a unique place. See the little motorcycle driven, those are called, Tuck, you'll get a kick out of this. You probably wear this. These are called tuk-tuks. So they probably named it after you, didn't they? Maybe not.
Well, but they spelled it wrong.
You know, they're into simplicity over there. So again, you'll see the Angkor Wat Temple, and that will just blow your mind. And you learn the history about it being covered in jungle, dense jungle. And then some Britain archaeologists found it in the mid or early 1800s, and it took them several decades to, in essence, cut the jungle down and unearth it. And you'll see it when you get there. But holy cow, it's just crazy. Now, you'll also see this South Gate and Angkor Thom. Angkor Thom is a big, beautiful, nothing's as big as Angkor Wat, but the top prom, and you'll have a show. We did not do that with Amma, that Apsara show on the bottom and dinner. We did not do that. But this again is something I love about Uniworld too. I love about all the cruise lines, but Uniworld just does it one step above, where they want you to get and see and feel as much of the culture in that area as possible. And then from Siem Reap on day 6, we will be transferred to a motor coach. They'll take us to the ship called the Mekong Jewel, and this will be the most relaxing part of your trip. I always like doing as much of the touring time before you get on the ship as possible, because as most of you know, once you get on the ship, it is most definitely much more relaxing. Pack and unpack once. This is kind of cool. We did not do this one either, and I just love this. You will go to that Angkor Ban and that Wat Henshi. We did not do that. You'll see and go to this local school and meet some of the school children. Their goal there is to help you learn about what Cambodia wants to get the killing fields off of everybody's mind and think about how progressive and how things are going so well there. And then we did not do this either, but I love it when anybody uses the word unforgettable water blessing from the local Buddhist monk. I think this is going to be an incredibly cultural experience. These monks do wear that orange like that. It's pretty cool when you see them, and you'll see them everywhere all around. And you will go to the capital of this area called Phnom Penh, and that's where the Khmer of the Khmer Rouge was headquartered for so long. And you have 2 days here, and you'll get to see some of the history. And they take you to the markets too. And these markets in these areas are just fabulous. They're just so incredible. And then this day will be sobering, like a couple other days on this trip. Well, this is the second day in Phnom Penh. You will go to the killing fields, and you'll learn all about that. And you'll, it's part of their history, and it's an ugly part of their history that they're not proud of right now. But it's history, so you'll learn all about that there on this day. Now, I love this picture, because when we went into Vietnam and got on the Mekong and got traveling down stream on the Mekong, holy cow. Spencer, my son, and I both thought, gee, many Christmas, this is probably not much more advanced than what it was 100, 200, even 250 years ago. Every now and then you'd see one of the dugout canoes with a guy looked like a 1962 motor behind it, and how they live and what they have. But they have the markets right on the water. It's so doggone cool. You'll see the TV satellite dishes, and that is one way you can tell that they have evolved a little bit anyway. So all of this whole area, the cultural part of this is just so doggone cool. Now, what we didn't do that I love that they're doing, if you see the last sentence in the description, you're going to go and visit the home of a retired Viet Cong general. I think honestly that would be an interesting experience. Love those hats too. Ladies, you get a chance to buy a hat like that if you like. wait till you see the agriculture and the crops, not only this, but the rice fields and everything else. It's really, really pretty doggone fascinating. And everything you kind of think of as Vietnamese, you'll experience along the way here. Okay, again, this was one of the cities that we did not go to, and I'm fascinated by this actually, because a lot of the communists, when they took over the country of Vietnam, they tore down a lot of the statues designed for anything that had to do with any kind of religion, Buddhist or Hindu, didn't matter, most certainly Christian. They would tear them down. Here, apparently they've left them standing. You'll get to go into some of the local farmers areas. You'll get to see some of the small little mom and pop stores, and some of the, we went into one place where they were hammering tin to make cups or bowls. It was really pretty fascinating, actually. Then you'll end up in Ho Chi Minh City, which we know as Saigon. They, of course, renamed that after the communists won the war and took over. But there again, I just think this is, as Vietnam's largest city, even bigger than Hanoi. The contrast from what you will have seen, not counting Hanoi, but what you've seen in Cambodia, what you've seen along the river, and this city is just mind-boggling, just mind-boggling. And motorbikes, good Lord Almighty, you see, whew, you can't believe how many motorbikes you'll see there. Okay, here is also where the museum is. That's all the museum about. It's the Vietnam Museum with the history of the Vietnam War. And I would tell you all this. Remember that saying I told you earlier, that the victors of any war get to write the history. And I want to tell you, it was sobering to me to see America portrayed as such evil, gigantic bullies, and they portrayed in picture with Agent Orange and everything throughout the whole thing. So I just want to warn you, if you go there, you're going to experience that. It's sobering is a good word. Okay. With that said, when I was with AMA, they offered this, the Chu Chi tunnels, that the Viet Cong's, like it says, their network of very, very narrow tunnels. You are allowed to go in there on this tour if you want. I have severe claustrophobia, and I opted not to do this one, but the people that went there were just absolutely enthralled. And once you get down into the tunnels, way down below, there's big, gigantic open areas that basically was there where they lived and hid. Stayed, and hid. And then again, the last day when you fly out, you'll fly out of Ho Chi Minh City, again, Saigon, and that'll be the end of the 15th day. You have options if you want to do, if any of you want to do things while you're in that part of the world, other than just this trip. We can help arrange transfers to the airport for you to fly, whether you fly home or whether you fly to somewhere else.
Mark, would you clarify when the cruise ends in Ho Chi Minh and how much time we're there until it concludes?
Lynette, do you have they normally on day 15, the tours are over with, Tuck, and then it depends on when your flight to where you're going leaves, and there's no way of knowing that right now, but I do know they're good enough and have the relationship with hotels. If your flight goes out a little later, you can get a late checkout. You most certainly, they'll give you options of things to do if your flight goes out much later in the afternoon. But we can find out all that for you.
The cruise pretty much concludes there that 15th day.
That's it. Yeah, the trip is over on this day, and really primarily it's no more tours unless you do optional tours on day 15.
Or people could just get a hotel and stay one more day or 3 more days, whatever they want.
Oh yeah,
right.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
The other, gosh, there's a lot. you know, a lot of it just boils to your time and budget, but we can do whatever you like in that area. There's so much to do. If you did anything at all, let me do this. We put this last, the only optional tour we have right now is actually in the beginning of the cruise. If anybody wants to go into this, and I did not do this. They did not make this available to us, and I wish I would have. We've had hundreds of clients do this optional pre-cruise, so it's before the cruise extension into Halong Bay, and that's up closer, more close to Hanoi. And everything I hear is it's just fabulous. If you're interested in that, Lynette can get you pricing on that, but this is an option for you, okay?
What is that transfer from Halong Bay to Hanoi? Is that a flight or a bus?
It is a motor coach, but I cannot tell you, Tuck, off the top of my head. We'll find that out. I can't tell you how far it is.
Yeah, thanks.
But we'll find out. And the transfers and transportation are all included. So let's go over the pricing, the suites for the 15, and this is the 15-day pricing, okay? It's all based on what kind of accommodations you book on the cruise ship, meaning those 10 suites we have, that price will be $8,499 per person. If anybody wants the grand suite, the price is $12,999. It says from, but these are the prices that we've got for this group till December 2nd. After December 2nd, we can still book people if there is space available, but it's at the going rate, whatever that might be. And then the Royal Suite is $16,599. So well, I think I've gone over most everything with you in that. Lynette, is there anything in there that's included that we have not talked about?
So I think we talked about that all of the beverages are included, all of the gratuities are included. So it's, for the most part, most everything's included in the cruise except for spa, things of personal nature, that type of thing. And then as far as deposits, there's a 10% deposit that's due at time of booking. And along with our 35 per person cruise holidays fee. And then the final payment is due on June 2nd. Now we do have on our next slide, Uniworld is offering us a pay in full offer. And so if you're able to pay in full by December 2nd, you would receive a 10% discount on the cruise package. If you opt not to do that, then the final payment would be due in June of 2025.
Mark or Lynette, if someone made the 10% deposit now, and then sometime in March, or I guess before the June payment, had a conflict and had to cancel, do you know what that credit policy looks like?
Yeah, they would have a cancellation fee, and I believe it is $200 per person. I would have to double check with that on Uniworld. Some of their cancellation policies vary from destination to destination, but generally it's $200 a person.
If you could verify that in our next email out to the group, that would be helpful for people to know if they're quite serious, maybe even not positive, but if they knew what that downside risk would be, you know, that might be a easy way for people to feel like they can commit with some, you know, a form of most of the money back, you know, lower risk, but that might be something that helps people commit soon here.
Yeah, totally agreed. And the other comment I'll make on that very subject is let me please recommend to every one of you, you absolutely 100% need to have travel insurance. We have a third-party travel insurance called Allianz that's worldwide. They're gigantic. They're full coverage, full service. And we recommend that strongly too. And then if a cancellation ever had to be because of medical reasons, then my gosh, even if you got charged just the minor $200 or $400, insurance would pay you back. If it's after final payment and the same thing were to happen, then Allianz would pay you for whatever kind of penalties would be at that time.
Excuse me, can we also find out if we pay in full what the cancellation is? I don't know if it's the same.
Yeah,
Certainly. Mhm.
Thank you.
that's what
Yeah.
Tuck was answering, and we'll get you that. We'll get you all that information. But good point.
Yeah, that's a good question. Not just if you put 10% down, but if you pay in full to get the discount, what's the
Mhm.
return credit?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because that's a good size payment, obviously, to do. So we'll make sure you get all that. Any other questions right now for Lynette or myself?
Hey, Mark.
Yes.
So you said it was sobering of how the Americans are portrayed in Vietnam, but I mean, are the people, do they express it, or are they, I mean, are they pro-American, at least in terms of visitors?
Oh, Evan, that's a great question. I gotta tell you, we found they were so excited to have Americans there. The people all throughout the places we went in Vietnam did not endorse, embrace, or like communism at all. But they loved us, and they were very friendly and very hospitable to us. We were treated phenomenally well. And the guides, when they would, I'm always asking guides stuff that they have to be very careful how they answer, and they would be very careful to answer when they were sure there were no listening ears around. But holy cow. In fact, I'll tell you, they're made to put out the Vietnam flag if they have an apartment or a house or anything, and if they don't, they can be fined $300 on the spot. Well, $300 in Vietnam, as you'll find, is a gigantic amount of money. And they don't like communism at all, but it is what it is, and they liked us a lot. So great question, and I think you'll find you'll be received very, very well.
Good to hear.
And along that line of question, Mark, that this, even though they're still communists, it's still a super friendly atmosphere for tourism.
Oh gosh, yes. And right now, you guys, and Tuck, this is why we're seeing there's so little space available on these river cruise ships a year out. And it's because tourism is just flourishing throughout Vietnam, throughout that whole area of southern Asia area. And Vietnam and Cambodia are gigantically popular right now, gigantically popular.
Evan, they have a great view of the United States because we've blamed it on the Californians.
They blamed it on car washers.
Yeah, those guys too.
One more question, Mark. On the Uniworld program, are all the excursions available to everyone, or do you have to sign up? And some you may get and some you don't.
Oh, that's a really good question too. The answer to that generically is that they're available to everyone. The reality is, Evan, post-COVID everywhere in the world, these cruise lines have all found it very, very hard to get tour guides for all of the different types of tours around. Now, in Vietnam, honestly, in a lot of the places, you're going to have one option of a tour. And so that, of course, will be made for everybody. But if there's two options or three options, in many cases, almost all these cruise lines are asking us to ask you, if you can make a decision what you want to do before you go, they would appreciate that. It just helps them to go out and find English-speaking guides towards the specific tour that you'll be doing. So both are true. My point is, when you get on board, you can change anything that you pre-book. If you pre-book it, if you don't pre-book it, which you don't have to, you can book it when you get on board. On all those tours, if there's just one tour, they will make sure they have enough tour guides for everybody. And again, the tour numbers with Uniworld are very, very small. There's only 68 people on the ship, and it'll probably be 3, maybe 4 groups of, what would that be, 15, 16 to 20 people.
And Mark, your personal opinion, is it worth it to grab the Grand Suite, to grab a Grand Suite for $4,500 or whatever it is. Is there anything additional you get other than space in the room?
Well, I tell you what, if you have the Royal Suite or even the Grand Suite, you'll get whatever tours you want, whether they're not available to everybody else or not, you'll get them. Secondly, you'll obviously get as much VIP treatment as you can from the captain and the rest of the crew. They do put, of course, their best, the servants that will take care of you. You'll have a full-time butler that will do whatever is needed to be done, from unpacking to packing to making, well, there's no reservations, but say you wanted to go to a great restaurant in Saigon, he'll find it for you, make reservations for you. So you get the full
I think the
butler
vet is
service
getting the Royal Suite.
in the Royal Suite. Lynette, do you
Yeah,
know off the top of your
that is-
head, does the Grand Suite have the butlers, or just access to butlers? Let me see if I've got that here.
Earlier in your presentation, it almost sounded like everyone on the boat had butler access. It was
All of the bigger suites have access to a butler full time. The other suites, the regular suites, in essence, they will share butlers. I think I've got that here somewhere. Just a second.
Evan, what was your other, I think you had a question we might have missed there on Grand or Royal Suite.
No, well, I was just complimenting the Bettons on grabbing the Royal Suite, so that'll be nice for us to all enjoy.
We weren't supposed to tell you that, though.
Well, we're actually saving money because the Porgeses are going to stay in there with us.
Every other day we get the bed, or what? How's that work out?
You know what? The other thing I will find out, because I can not tell you the answer to this, but I will have my guess is that when you have the Royal Suite, you'll also have access to the better suites at the hotels you'll be staying in too.
What were you in? What category were you in?
When I cruised before, we had, and I did not cruise Uniworld. Remember, I cruised Alma Waterways, and I was just in a let's call it a middle of the road cabin, and it was perfectly fine. But
Yeah,
I was with my son. I didn't need a suite or want to spend the money on a suite with my son. My wife might be different. The other thing I wanted to throw out to you too, I know in this destination or this long flight, most of you will want business class air, or many of you will. Lynette and our air department can work on that for you if you'd like us to.
what's the routing, Mark? How are we getting there?
Do you know everybody is different? Evan, where are you out of?
We'll be leaving out of SFO, San Francisco.
I honestly can't tell you. Lynette, would you have a guesstimate?
I would have to double check on that and see. I haven't pulled up any of the flights. Honestly, I don't know.
We are right now at 330 days out, so we could find out now, and we could get you some options for business class air flights too.
Yeah.
If this is of interest.
And I'm thinking, Mark, like you said, since you're in that part of the world, Bali intrigues me also, since we're there. That probably is a decent choice for a post venture.
I've not been to Bali, but we've sent a whole bunch of clients there, and actually my daughter spent 4 days there and loved it. Thought it was the most beautiful beaches she'd ever seen in the world, and she's traveled quite a bit.
Okay.
And again, our dollar goes so far in that part of the world, so you can stay in some mighty fine hotels for what you'll be very pleased with the value for your dollar.
Okay.
But
Thank
we
you.
could most certainly arrange that. Anybody who wants to go to Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, before or after, we can help you arrange that too.
I mean, yeah, it's way around the other side of the planet, but yeah, there's so many things over there. I mean, then might as well just go to Australia too.
Well,
We could be gone a month.
You know what, and we could pick up one of the world cruises that's stopping over there, Tuck, and pick up a couple of 30-day segments for you.
Perfect. They said there might be a cruise going around the world that lasts for 4 years. I saw that on Instagram, I think.
Yeah, my joke,
Nobody caught that.
I did catch that. I did catch that. Here, since you were bold enough to say that, I'll do this with fear. Lynette's going, Mark, don't. But we could tell immediately, and I do mean this, immediately on November 6th. I kid you not, our business spiked like the stock market. It was crazy. And now my joke is I could tell which clients of ours were Republicans because they asked for round trip. And I could tell which ones were Democrats because they asked for one way.
That was a good joke, Mark.
That's the
my
best I
comment
could
was
do.
just mine was non-political. Just it's going to be interesting 4 years.
Yeah, well, we've heard that too. Okay, everybody, I got to tell you, I have had a lot of people ask, is it worth going to? And my 100% opinion is yes, absolutely, it's worth going to. My belief is this will be a one and done for most everybody. You know, Evan, a little bit kind of like the Amazon in a lot of ways. Statistics tell us that was a one and done. And this one I think will be too. So do it right. See as much as you can. That Halana Bay, I would tell you, I don't have many regrets in my life. I regret I did have the opportunity to fly in early to do that, and I didn't, and I wished I would have. But your call, your decision. I just like to end with saying this. Mimi and I have children and grandchildren, so we joined a ski club long time ago, and that ski club very simply is spending your kids' inheritance. So, with that said, that's the best sense of humor I've got. Tuck, that was not political, so I can end it on that.
And Lynette, if you could also remember to give us, or at least give me, and I'll forward it out, the details on that connection. If people do want to go to the Halong Bay, what that pre-excursion looks like, cost, details, and then travel to Hanoi for picking up the first part of that main trip. That would be helpful.
Mhm.
And then the other thing I was going to say, just for everyone's benefit, in the other couple group events that we've put together, we've had a week-long main event, and then people kind of more free to schedule their own pre and post, or just do their own thing, freewheeling it. The timing and the distance and the amount of bookings that are going on, and trying to maybe piecemeal trips together. This one just fell more into place, and while 15 days is definitely a long time, as Mark said, I think most people going over there are not going to go for 7 days and fly home. So we're kind of pushing that envelope a little bit, but also I think making it, I'll say, more hassle-free to get the full experience, versus maybe, like Mark said, coming home after 7 or 10 days and realizing, we missed a whole lot. As Evan was pointing out, this still leaves a whole lot of wide open doors to pre or post on all kinds of other parts of that part of the world, Bangkok or Singapore or things like that. So we're not necessarily going to try to schedule more for more people beyond the 15, but if anyone wants to do that on their own, or if there's a bunch of requests like, hey, is there a chance we could all go from Ho Chi Minh to Bangkok, or if that was a big request, we could still, I know Lynette and Mark could still do some connecting and travel agency work on our behalf if there's a couple of themes that people really want to get more details on. And that's all I had.
Let me say this, I've got some plans here coming up in the next 6 minutes. So if there are other questions, please get back to Lynette, and Lynette will get Tuck to you the answers to the questions you all have asked. And we appreciate the opportunity to do business with you. It's been a pleasure of ours, Tuck, since you guys went to southern France in a few years ago.
Yep.
So,
Hey,
thank you
Mark.
for your business. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Nice seeing you all.
Yeah.
And let
Thanks,
me wish
everyone.
you all a very happy Thanksgiving.
Too.
You as well.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.